It says here, you don't believe in God, and you consider Satan to be a mythical and fictional being.
Yeah.
It goes on to say that you're reluctant to think too hard about the fact that you have regular conversations with the devil, as you're worried that there might be episodes of psychosis, and you don't want to mention this to your doctor.
Well, that's it, because I've got mental health problems anyway, but if it's developing to the point where it's hallucinations and visions, then I'm a bit worried, but I don't really know if I believe in you.
Tea with the Devil, a podcast by Eric Rushton and Richard Dadd. Episode 4.
Eric, I've been watching you very carefully for the last few days, and I've got to say, you really haven't done anything very naughty at all.
How are you watching me exactly? I don't understand the mechanism, first of all.
Well, I could just pop into your head and have a quick snoop around.
I don't think I knew that, because I knew that God was omnipresent. Is that the word for it? He's everywhere. Are you omnipresent as well?
No, I'm not omnipresent.
Do you have to select? Like, you
Yes.
can go anywhere, but you have to select it. Like
That's right.
God is everywhere at once, but you have to go, right, I'm going to Eric Rushton's eyes for a... Have you seen the film... Being John Malkovich?
Yes, through several people's eyes.
Oh, and whose eyes were the best to watch it through?
There's a man called Kieran who lives in Cardiff, and he had some very interesting mental observations that he made about the film as he watched it. It's rather like watching with the director's commentary on.
Yes. Have you ever watched it through John Malkovich's eyes?
I have watched it through John Malkovich's eyes, yes, because he watches it at 9 o'clock every evening.
Fair play, I would if I was him.
Yes, and he says all the lines of dialogue along with the film and impersonates all the other cast members. And he turns his phone off while he's doing it. He doesn't like being interrupted. But yes, I can pop into anybody's mind and have a quick look around, see what they've recently been thinking about, what they've been up to. A bit like checking somebody's browser history.
Right. Why even have a conversation with me then, if you can just go into my memories?
Well, it's nice to have a chat, isn't it?
But you already know what I'm thinking, I guess.
Well, I like to have some one-to-one interaction with people.
Right. Is it more lonely to just go into their heads and kind of search around than actually talk to them, I guess?
Well, would you like the voyeuristic pleasure of merely watching everybody and never talking to them?
No, but in your case, you can already kind of know what anyone's going to say. That's interesting about God as well, because he literally... What's God's life like? He's got voices coming in his head all the time, because he's everywhere. 7 billion kind of thought streams just playing continuously. And then he's got to talk to people in heaven as well, I imagine. He's got to keep up appearances there. So that is exhausting for him.
But of course, he very rarely these days talks to people. So
yeah.
Normally when people claim that God has been talking to them, it's usually me putting on a voice.
What about when someone's like, I remember someone at uni, right, I lived with for a bit, they were really religious, and when they got like a 2-1 or whatever, they got the grade they wanted, they did a big like post about how God helped them do it. Was he responsible in any way?
No, probably not.
No, I wouldn't have thought. That annoys me as well a little bit. They should give themselves a little bit of credit. She did the revision. She did the hard work. And, people who win, like, awards and stuff like that and Oscars and stuff, and they thank God. It's like, you the one that acted in the film.
Quite right. It's a very ugly character trait of God's that he requires praise for other people's actions. It's not something I ever do. I don't take responsibility for the things that I haven't done. I like to be an active participant in the world.
Well, the thing is, I can never really know. I can never really know what you do or don't do because you lie. And that's the problem with lying continuously. It means you're not trustworthy. So I don't know. It's sort of dawning on me now. I can't take anything you say at face value.
And this is an important lesson to learn. It keeps one shrewd. It keeps one critical.
Yeah.
Because if you believe everything that people say and you believe that people aren't lying to you, then ultimately you become gullible.
But then if you believe that everyone might be lying all the time...
Which is true.
And that you can't trust anyone...
Which you can't.
Then society can't function.
Well, I don't think you should trust everybody.
Yeah. So anyway, you were in my head for a little bit. What were you seeing? If you're on about the lesbian sister thing I watched, it's not a regular thing, and I don't think they were really sisters.
Well, they definitely weren't sisters.
So it's all right.
They'd never met before that day, but they did have a lovely time together.
Striking resemblance that did make them look close to the real thing. But
well, there was quite an extensive casting session. I was there. I'll tell you about that sometime.
Fine, you've seen it, but you're not going to shame me with it.
Well, I'm not planning on shaming you at all. It's just useful to know this stuff. The better you know somebody, the better you're able to understand them. And ultimately, that's what I want. And that's for your benefit as well as for the benefit of our friendship. I'm very much doing this for you as well as for us.
But anyway, as I was saying, I was disappointed with your general progress of late. I mean, this week you've been holding doors open for people.
You called after a woman who dropped her glove.
Yeah.
And the other night you donated £5 to a charitable cause.
Yeah, well, it's, just giving. They're going on a run, so fair play to them.
I am just very worried about this pattern of behaviour that you're getting into, Eric. I'm worried that if you carry on along this road, then ultimately you're going to end up sitting on a cloud with a cardigan on, playing jigsaws with Mr. and Mrs. Beige.
What's wrong with that?
Well, I would be terribly sad if I lost your friendship.
Okay,
And
well,
I like to think that in the long term I'll be able to spend eternity with you and we'll be mates.
why can't we be mates but me just be who I am now? You're sort of saying you don't like me for who I am.
I like you for who you are, Eric.
I've not said to you, this is your problem, not my problem. I've not said to you, I'm doing these things in my life. I'm donating to Just Giving and stuff like that.
I know, but I'm thinking of you.
And I don't want to talk to you, but you're saying you don't want to talk to me because of it. So
I'm not saying I don't want to talk to you. I'm just saying I'm worried that the pattern of behaviour might ultimately lead you to being a bit of a do-gooder.
Would you say you're developing an attachment towards me?
I have a great deal of affection for you, Eric, yes.
Yeah, okay. That seems dangerous. Just for you. I mean, I'm a fan of attachments and stuff like that, but
I wouldn't invest so much time in talking to you if I didn't see the value in you.
okay, but what if my motive, because we'll go back to, like, you don't know if anyone's lying or having you on all the time. What if my motive is just to absolutely take the piss out of you overall, show what a dickhead you are? Then would you feel cheated?
Well, it's a good job I can look into your mind and know the truth then, isn't it, Eric?
Well, maybe you can, maybe you can't. I don't really know if I believe that.
Well, of course I can. I've got a very thorough understanding of you and everybody else. And anyway, I've got extensive paperwork and lots of folders and ring binders and tomes full of all kinds of information on everybody. I mean, I've got your dossier here.
Here we are, Eric. Eric Rushton. There we are. It's full of all sorts of information from the obvious stuff: height, eye colour, sperm count, cholesterol level, that sort of
How's
thing.
my sperm count doing before we move on?
Oh, very healthy, yes.
So I can have kids one day if I want.
Well, at the moment, it's looking like a mini Glastonbury in your balls.
Yeah.
Yes, there are all sorts of information, and then it leads through into the less important stuff: shoe size, and then of course your fundamental beliefs. It's useful for me to have documents like this so that I build up a fuller picture of somebody.
It's a bit of stalker vibes, actually.
It's just having a comprehensive understanding of the world. It's just efficient.
You sound like Mark Zuckerberg.
Well, I've got quite a hefty folder on Mark Zuckerberg, I can tell you that.
Do you reckon you've got more on him than he has on you? Because he collects stuff on everyone.
I've got access to all of his information plus my information, so by definition I have more than him.
It's a close. Would you admit that it's a close call?
Well, yes, but because I can see into his mind, I have access to all of his information, plus the information that he doesn't have access to.
Yeah, but you're still doing, like, files and stuff like that. He's using computers. You're still doing folder files and all
Yes,
that.
but my stuff will outlive eternity. All of his stuff will be lost, ultimately.
I can't get my head around eternity, you know?
No?
When people say, till the end of eternity, what does that mean? How can you have the end of an infinite?
Well, ultimately, of course, there will be a large battle and Armageddon. But let's not think about that for now. It's quite a long time off.
Yeah.
So yes, if I look through your document here, your some of your beliefs, some of quite surprising, some of them, I must say. It's surprising when you look inside somebody what they really believe, stuff that they might not even be aware of themselves, or that they might deny if they were challenged with it, but all food for thought.
Right, what are you getting at?
Well, just stuff like, we've got here, it says, for example, that you believe that homosexuals can't catch.
Right, that is not the case whatsoever.
Well, no, it's not supported
not
by
the
any...
case that I don't mean it's not the case that they can catch. I mean, it's not the case.
Well, no, I know that you believe that they can't catch, and the truth is, Eric, that there's no correspondence between somebody's sexuality and their spatial awareness. I don't, for the life of me, understand why you think that there would be.
I'm telling you that I don't think that.
It's very surprising, the things that people believe. It's very, very surprising.
What do you mean I believe that? Because surely if I...
Well, you believe...
What do you mean believe? Well, how does that manifest itself. If I'm saying I don't believe it...
I understand, Eric, that you don't want to admit that you believe this.
I'm telling you I don't believe it.
Well, no, I understand that you don't want to admit that you believe it.
In fact, they're probably better catchers.
Yes, a lot of them are very good dancers.
Okay, maybe that's going too far the other way now.
It's completely not supported by the scientific evidence, but it does seem to be something that you believe.
It's not supported by what I think either. That's just nonsense and it's offensive.
Well, a lot of people find it very offensive, yes.
This isn't a case of me not willing to admit my beliefs. I'm saying on a fundamental level, I do not believe that there's any correlation between catching ability and sexuality.
Well, there is no correlation between it at all.
Yes, and that is my belief that there is no correlation.
And yet, why is it that when you need to throw, for example, a remote control to somebody, you assess in your head, is this person gay or straight?
What?
And you have a greater...
No.
And when you think they're gay, you'll just walk over to them and hand it to them.
No.
But if they were straight, you'd toss it nonchalantly and expect them to catch it.
I wouldn't.
Because you believe they would be more likely to catch it.
I probably wouldn't throw in either case. I'd probably just hand someone the remote. Maybe that would be more of a case if I knew the person or not. If it's like Joe, I'll throw him the remote. Yeah, I know him. We got a good relationship.
You know Joe. You know he fancies girls. It's okay to throw the remote to him.
No, I know.
He's not going to drop it like a gay would.
This is absolute bullshit, concocted by Satan.
I haven't concocted anything. It's there in black and white. And I'm presenting it to you by way of illustration of how one can hold a belief deep down that one is ashamed of and which one would seek to deny. But it's okay. There's nobody else here. Nobody's listening. It's not like these remarks of ours are being in any way recorded. So feel free to say what you really think.
For all I know, you're recording these. So just again, if you're recording these to catch me out, how do I know that you don't do this to everyone, right? And you're the person that cancels celebrities?
I am not in favour of cancelling people.
I've just discovered who you are.
What do you mean?
You are TMZ.
I am not.
You're TMZ.
I am not.
You're all those undercover camera, video things. You're the upskirt shots. You're you're all that.
Those, yes.
You are TMZ. I've caught you out.
I'm not TMZ.
Well, that's what you would say, but I've caught you out, so I think I'm...
Well, no, I'm not TMZ.
Zed. You're not willing to admit that you're TMZ.
It is very normal that when...
So this is what... You're getting as defensive as I am, and I have no reason to be defensive, by the way.
It's very normal when somebody is faced with things that they don't want to admit about themselves for them to go into denial. And I'm saying to you, it's okay.
Like, you don't want to admit that you are TMZ.
I'm saying it's okay. Nobody is recording this. Nobody will hear it. There will be no consequences of this conversation apart from you and I getting to know each other better.
Well, and that involves facing up to some of the more challenging and politically incorrect instincts and aspects of your personality, which stand in stark contrast to, you're a multifaceted person, you're a complex being. So you feel angst by being faced with these problematic beliefs you have, which weigh against a lot of your other beliefs, which are progressive and very liberal, and some might say woke beliefs, which are approved of in the current zeitgeist and seen as positive.
Okay, let's talk about some of them instead of slagging me off.
I'm not slagging you off. I'm just saying that there are things in here that are surprising.
Like what else do you think I believe in?
Well, okay, let's just pick a random belief then. Okay, it says here that you believe that women make a bit too much fuss about being on their period and they should just buckle down and get on with it.
Absolutely not the case. I couldn't imagine the trauma of having blood leaking from me every month. I don't have that to worry about, and I find it hard enough to regulate my mood and things like that. It sounds like a nightmare for them, and I have the utmost sympathy for any woman that's on her period.
Oh, for goodness sake, did your PR team write that for you? It sounds like a pre-prepared press statement.
And absolutely, tampons are not a luxury, okay? So we need to sort out the VAT on those.
Well, that alone shows how out of touch you are, because they've already abolished the tampon tax. You see, if you really cared about women's issues, you'd be up to date with the stories, and you'd know that. I mean, what are you going to do next? Jump in front of a horse so women get the vote? I mean, for goodness sake, Eric, why don't you just admit you don't care about these things? You couldn't give a toss about tampons, and you think women make a bit too much fuss on their period? They should just,
I've never said that.
Buckle down, get on with it, take some aspirin, stop complaining, get back to the dishes. Make you a sandwich.
But I don't even believe that, so...
Interesting, the dilemma that you feel, the dichotomy.
It's not fair that, I abhor those beliefs as well. You know, the things that you're saying about me, I abhor those.
Yes, and I think we're getting very close to understanding why you don't always like yourself, Eric. It's because deep down, you recognize that there are parts of yourself you abhor and dislike. But you know, let's keep probing. Let's see what else you believe. Okay, what we've got here. You believe that people who don't like football are stupid and they've got something wrong with them.
No, I love football myself, but obviously not everyone can get behind the kind of awesome sort of Greek tragedy that it is, and it's this story we follow every week, and I actually think it's quite like high art football. But you know, if you want to be stupid and don't understand it, then that's your problem.
Well, there we go. We can see in the subtext there that you think that people who don't like football have got something wrong with them.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
Well, you more or less did. And other beliefs here in the book give a very interesting insight into your vanity.
Right, go on.
Well, this belief, for example, it says here that you believe that you shouldn't have to do any other sort of job outside of stand-up comedy because you are so exceptionally talented, and that any shortfall in your income ought to be made up by the government via some kind of arts funding in recognition of the fact that your comedy makes such a significant contribution to the country's cultural heritage and tourism industry.
Well, I'll rephrase that slightly, but it's very hard to do comedy, okay? So we should be investing in the people that have a talent for it. I know some people might disagree with whether I have a talent for it, but you know, it's there in the record, it's there in honours won, it's there in gigs done. We should be investing in those people. We should make it so their lives around that are easier. And there should be a lot of social prestige attached to it.
The poontang,
okay, so
that sort of thing.
That's and yeah, if you want to do something artistic, you need to do it full time to be good at it. So if that means government are paying for it, that's fine with me. Does that answer your question, Satan?
Well, I didn't really have a question, but, this just goes to clearly demonstrate that my paperwork is all in order and accurate, and that this is a true representation of your inner beliefs.
Well, no, because it doesn't change the fact that the first two were... I think you've got the first two mixed up with
No, I haven't got them mixed up with anybody. This is clearly your paperwork. Look, it says there, that's your name, Eric Rushton. There's your national insurance number, born 1996.
Just looking at that, look a bit closer at that name.
But this...
No, just on that page.
Eric Rushton.
He's got named on it.
Oh, what you mean? This bit you mean where it's like engraved slightly?
To me, that looks like it doesn't say Eric Rushton. The apparent view. That to me looks like Ainsley Harriot's name.
No. This definitely isn't Ainsley's folder. No. I mean, Ainsley does have some very dark thoughts. You know, very dark. But no, this isn't his style at all. No, this is definitely you. No, I think what's happened there is I think your book has just been lent on by somebody writing in Ainsley's folder, and I think it's just been pressed through.
And I don't even believe Ainsley Harriott believes those things. By the way, I'm not disputing that you've lied. I still think you're full of shit. Just for again, in case this is somehow being recorded or whatever, I don't want any libel case.
This anxiety that you have about constantly having to counter.
Well, people are trying to record everything and catch everyone out at the moment. Everything has to go somewhere. Every conversation has to be put on a kind of platform where you're supposed to leave positive reviews if you like what you're listening to and you want to hear more of it, and you're supposed to share it. And
I understand. You're so used to being on your guard. You're so used to the fear that somebody might reveal something. You might tweet something and then later regret it. You've got to be on your guard that you're not used to having such a candid conversation as we're having.
Because people aren't forgiving, are they? People here... They don't need to know the context. All you need is the headline, Eric Rushton accused of saying homosexuals can't catch. And that's, no one even has to click on that. It's,
sorry.
Everything, all my gigs cancelled, all my followers gone.
Sorry, what was that headline
you know
again?
I mean?
Could you say that again? I didn't hear.
Well, no, because now I think now I know what you're doing.
Sorry, no, I just had some earwax. I just didn't.
Eric Rushton thinks that, no, man, I know what you're doing. Eric Rushton thinks that homosexuals can't catch. That's what you were trying.
No, sorry, that's what I thought. Yeah, I mean, that's what I read in the book.
You're trying to get a sound bite out of me.
Anyway, moving on. So some of your other beliefs, what have we got here? You believe that it is not only feasible but also inevitable that you will one day end up with an harem of lovers dotted about the country, and that it is secretly one of your main long-term goals.
No, I'd actually prefer to just be committed to one person that I love very deeply. And
then a few side pieces.
And to foster...
A few hoochie-coochie mamas on the side.
Foster that love and, yeah, no.
A tart in every town.
No, it's not illegal to look.
Bit of how's your father?
No, none of that. No, I don't want to know how her dad is. If she's having kind of casual relationships like that. Maybe a relationship with her father wasn't so good, so maybe I shouldn't go into house her father. But you know what? Actually, I retract that, because maybe that's slut shaming, and I don't. Again, if anyone's listening to this, don't condone that at all.
It's just a minefield of anxiety in your mind, isn't it? It's constant covering your back.
Do you not worry? Well, what if, right, your job is being the devil, right?
Yes.
What if someone, could catch something you say and then you lose your job forever? Do you know what I mean? You're not the devil anymore.
So what you're saying, somebody could surreptitiously record me saying something that was so incredibly bad that I would no longer be allowed to be the devil?
No, I think what if something that comes out that you've done that's like really good?
It would have to be insanely good to counter all the naughty things that I've done.
I don't think it would, because the other way around, it doesn't have to be insanely bad. Someone could have, done lots of good and lots of good work and made loads of interesting things, and then they slip up once and, they're gone forever and then from the internet and the public eye.
I'm having a very interesting time confronting you with this. I'm used, of course, to people feeling strife and dilemma and internal
It's just I don't know
about their beliefs, shame, embarrassment.
I don't even know how I know what I believe. Do you know what I mean?
You clearly don't know what you believe.
I'm having a bit of a...
I read it out.
I know I don't believe those ridiculous things you said at the start.
You believe all of this. It's in the look. This is Eric Rushton's beliefs from the dossier I've done.
Well, how do I know you're the devil? You're meant to be deceptive. That comes back to what we were saying about lying. How do I know this is not just a fake dossier?
Well, it's not. This is a real dossier. How could you think such a thing? How dare you?
Because you're the devil and you're full of shit 90% of the time, and this is your problem. Okay, because you're never going to ever have close friends acting like the way you do. I don't mean the bad shit that you say, because I've got friends that can sometimes say dodgy things, but you know fundamentally who they are. I don't know who you are. I don't know if it's all a lie and an act, and to be honest, I'm getting a bit tired of it.
Well, I'm very hurt that you feel this way.
I see, this is it. I don't even know if you're hurt. I don't know if you care one bit.
I care about you deeply, Eric.
More of your manipulation, more of your narcissism.
No, you're a beautiful boy, Eric, and I think you're very
being
talented.
Very manipulative right now.
No, you're very talented.
You're just trying to get me on side. I'm not having it. I'm fed up with you.
You're a dashing, handsome boy. You're very talented. You have turned your talents to pursuits to make other people happy, and you bring joy and laughter.
I'm not particularly interested in flattery. You need to...
I wouldn't come and chat to you as frequently as I do if I didn't get something out of it.
I don't doubt that.
Out of it, your friendship and companionship.
You're doing it to get something out of it. I doubt what the thing you're trying to get out of it is, and that's what...
It's your long-term company.
Why would you want my long-term company above all the other people you could have a long-term company
with? Well, I have the company of millions.
You've got some proper nutcases in hell right now. You could be, forming bonds with some interesting
absolute
people.
Fruitcakes down there.
Yeah.
I just think it would be a shame. I've lost many people like you. Won't listen. They won't give in to temptation.
Yeah.
They're all pious. They do all these charitable things.
I've been like that where, I've lost friends in the past, and it's like, I blame them, but you've got to look at yourself. Why are people not giving in to temptation? What is it, Maybe you're doing something wrong.
Well, yes, I think in the past there have been times when I haven't done a good enough job of persuading people. I haven't tempted them. And really, I needed to get better at it. And that's why
So you admit that you make mistakes?
Of course, we all make mistakes, Eric.
What's the biggest mistake you've ever made? That's what I'm interested in.
The biggest mistake I've ever made. The biggest mistake I've ever made was probably trying to be an angel in the first place, trying to be friends with God, trying to get on up there. I was foolish.
And why was that a mistake, though? Because that seems like...
It was a mistake because I wasn't being true to myself.
What are your true beliefs, then? What do you mean true to yourself?
When I was younger, at the dawn of time, when the angels had been created, I lived among happy, virtuous, pious people, and I tried to be like them. If I thought something a little bit naughty, a little bit wicked, I would feel terribly guilty about it. I would deny it.
Yeah.
I would worry, and I would talk to some of the other angels and said I'd had a bit of a naughty thought. And they would say, don't worry, it's okay. You can overcome these things. And I spoke to God about it. And what I realized was that all this constant worrying about what other people think and denying my true beliefs was a bad thing, and what I needed to do was to fully embrace who I am in order to be comfortable with myself. And when I had that realization, I separated my way from heaven, I moved down here, my life became a lot happier, and the first step was accepting my true nature and the things that I fundamentally believe. And I realize, I recognize that anxiety within you right now. I can see that you don't wish to admit some of the more ugly truths that you happen to believe. You're anxious that if somebody heard about these things, that they would cancel you or be offended, and it might cause you consequences later on. But what I'm saying is own them, Eric. Own these things. Come to understand them. Acquaint yourself with them and stop worrying about other people. And you will have a greater peace of mind in the long run. I'm thinking of you.
Okay.
So, for example, when I read here that you believe that people should only be allowed to claim benefits if they've got a healthy BMI, again,
That's not why.
that's a thing that a lot of people would be ashamed to admit. And what I'm saying is, you now, Eric, say that loud and
No,
proud.
I accidentally-
Say it with me. People who should only be allowed to claim benefits if they've got a healthy BMI.
I'm not saying
Come
it.
on,
I'm not
say
being
it with
up-
me.
No.
A healthy BMI.
People should only be
People
able
should
to
only be
claim
allowed to
that
claim benefits if they've got a healthy
they've
BMI.
got a
Yeah.
healthy BMI. But I don't believe that.
Good. Well done.
I'll tell you why I don't believe that, because there's a...
You've done really well. Later on, could you tweet that for me?
No, because
Just pop it on Twitter later.
it's all part of a vicious cycle. You, if you're on benefits, you might be having a more hard time not being able to afford stuff, and you afford cheap, and you buy cheap food that's high in fat, partly for a release, and partly because it's, more readily available, and then you get fatter, and then, you go more into the spiral of depression and not wanting to work and finding it harder to work, and then you'll eat some more. So it's a very difficult spiral to get out of. That's why I don't believe what you just made me say.
You've done a very good job there of summarizing and parroting back what other people think. But what I'm interested in is what you really believe, which is that the fatties shouldn't be allowed to claim benefits.
No.
Not my words. The words of Eric Rushton.
No, I think having a safety net in this country is tremendous, and if it's one that's strong enough to sustain the fatties as well, then I'm all for it.
I've got to say, I'm not entirely comfortable with all of your beliefs myself. There's one here. It says here, you don't believe in God, and you consider Satan to be a mythical and fictional being.
Yeah.
It goes on to say that you're reluctant to think too hard about the fact that you have regular conversations with the devil, as you're worried that there might be episodes of psychosis, and you don't want to mention this to your doctor.
Well, that's it, because I've got mental health problems anyway. It's more just been the kind of bog standard depression and anxiety, but if it's developing to the point where it's hallucinations and visions and false conversations, then I'm a bit worried. But if someone asked me, I still probably would say I'm an atheist. So it's a really difficult one having you in my life, because I don't really know if I believe in you.
Well, it says here that you don't believe in me.
But I'm still talking to you, and I guess that's something, isn't it?
This is a perfect illustration of the fact that people can hold contradictory beliefs, hold two beliefs that seem to clash against each other. They can deny it, or they can act in a way that seems to contradict
Well,
it.
which one would you say is your true beliefs, what you think or how you act?
I think it's very normal for human beings to be in dilemma about these things.
Yeah.
I don't think there is anybody who has an entirely consistent belief system. That's partly what's so jarring about all the goody two-shoes people, because they claim to have pure morals and a consistent set of beliefs, and none of them do. They're hypocrites deep down.
Yeah.
They've all done things that they regret. They've all said things that they shouldn't have. None of them are whiter than white.
Yeah.
It's sheer hypocrisy, and one day many of them will be found out. But I would say to you, Eric, trust me, I'm the devil. I am not. This is not psychosis. You're just talking to the devil, and I really would urge you not to talk to the doctor or any kind of therapists or anybody at all about our little conversations.
Okay.
They're entirely between you and me. And if you do get given any antipsychosis medication, then by all means, flush it down the toilet, because I find it makes it terribly difficult to talk to people when they're on that stuff.
Right, okay. Oh, thank you, Satan.
I'm only thinking of you.
Yeah, I know you've got my best interests at heart ultimately.
I have.
And I'm sorry I'm so argumentative. And ultimately, you are right.
That's okay. It's good. I feel like these conversations are productive. They're beneficial, aren't they?
Yeah, I like them, but I am struggling with the atheism thing. And you can, like you said, you can hold two contradictory beliefs, but if you keep holding them and you keep being aware that you're holding them for a long time, it's is kind of tiring. It's kind of I feel like I'm splitting into two Erics here. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, yes.
And I don't know what will win in the end. To believe in you, does that mean I have to become a Christian? I'm not sure I want to.
No, you don't have to be a Christian to believe in me. You just have to believe the evidence of your eyes and ears.
Does that make me a Satanist? Because I don't want to be a Satanist either, really.
Oh, well, I mean, if you did decide to worship me, I'd be terribly flattered, but I don't expect it.
Yeah.
Although I am pretty bloody marvellous, so I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah.
But these conversations, whilst they might sometimes be painful or difficult or challenging, I do think they're worthwhile. And I do think that you will benefit in the long run from knowing yourself better and from you and I knowing each other better. And when I look at these beliefs...
But what you say knowing yourself better, I feel like I know myself less at the end of this conversation.
Well, you need to turn this stuff over. You need to look at yourself and do I believe in God? Do I believe in Satan? Do I believe that I deserve to have a harem of lovelies? Do I fundamentally think that my housemate Joe should die a painful death as soon as possible? Do I believe these things? And if so, should I act upon them? That's all I'm asking.
That last one?
So just go away and have a think about those things, especially the last one, and I'm sure we'll have another chat soon. It'll be lovely.
Okay, I don't want to kill anyone, just to get that out there.
No, of course you don't want to kill anybody, but sometimes they have to die, don't they?
No, mate, it's particularly not my fault, mate. I don't know why you've mentioned that a few times. I don't want... Joe is my best friend, okay?
We don't. It's okay. We don't need to discuss it, Eric. I'm just saying, in your beliefs, obviously here you've got this thing about the fact that Joe should die, and that's just something you believe, and that's fine. Just have a think about why that might be, and how would you go about it? Might you pop a dishwasher tablet in his tea, that sort of thing? Just have a think about it.
I'd be devastated if he was dead.
Anyway, it's been lovely chatting to you, Eric. I've got an awful lot of stuff to be getting on with.
All right, good luck with it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and try to do some naughty things before I see you next. Okay. Goodbye. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Tea with the Devil, a podcast with Eric Rushton as a poor lost soul, and Richard Dadd as the personification of purest evil. The music is Nocturnal Shadows by Anna Maria Olson. Join us again next time.